Why everyone's obsessed with Japanese minimalism right now. Over the past 5 years, global interest in Japanese minimalism has soared by more than 400%. But here is the surprise: most people drawn to it are missing its true essence. Because this is not just about pristine white walls or a perfectly folded blanket. Japanese minimalism is nurtured by 3 ancient concepts: Wabi-Sabi, Ma, and Mono. No aware ideas that can quietly reshape the way you think, feel, and live each day. And once you see the real reason behind this worldwide fascination, you may never look at your own space the same way again. In this video, we will explore why Japanese minimalism is so profoundly different from every decluttering trend you have seen on social media. We will uncover the deep philosophies that make it truly work, principles that go beyond surface beauty to reach mental clarity, emotional balance, and even your perception of time. You will see how it is quietly transforming coffee shops, co-working spaces, and even billion-dollar brands like Muji and Apple. More importantly, I will show you how to apply these principles to your own life, even if you do not live in a perfectly designed Tokyo apartment. By the end, you will know whether this is simply a beautiful trend to scroll past or a way of thinking that could completely transform your life. Because the truth is this: if you approach it the wrong way, you will end up with an empty room and a mind still full of clutter. But if you understand its roots, you will discover a source of stillness refined over 1,000 years. 1. Finding beauty in the imperfect. If you have ever paused to watch the way cherry blossoms scatter after a storm, or felt a strange warmth while holding an old ceramic mug with a small crack that you have used for years, that is Wabi-Sabi in action. Wabi-Sabi is a Japanese concept that says beauty is not found in perfection, but in imperfection, in the cracks, the wear, and the fleeting nature of all things. Unlike Western minimalism, which often gravitates towards sleek, flawless design, Wabi-Sabi embraces asymmetry, raw textures, and the quiet dignity of objects that have lived through time. Imagine a wooden table with edges faded from countless family dinners. In Western design, you might sand it down or replace it. In Wabi-Sabi, you cherish it, precisely because of those marks. They are proof of connection, of time passing, of life lived. We live in a culture obsessed with the new. New phones, new clothes, new trends. But this endless chase comes at a cost: stress, dissatisfaction, and the sense that nothing is ever enough. Wabi-Sabi is the antidote. When you accept imperfection, you stop resisting reality. You begin to see value in what is already here, instead of longing for the next shiny thing. This shift is not just aesthetic, it is a deep psychological change. Studies on gratitude and mindfulness show that when we appreciate imperfect beauty, our anxiety decreases, our sense of contentment grows, and our emotional resilience strengthens. For younger generations, especially millennials and Gen Z, this is profoundly meaningful. They are turning away from the exhausting grind of hustle culture and finding peace in the idea that their homes and their lives do not need to look like a perfectly curated Instagram feed to be beautiful. Applying Wabi-Sabi does not mean living in an empty room with only 3 pieces of furniture. It is about editing your space so that what remains truly matters to you. Choose natural materials that age with time: wood that deepens in color, linen that softens with every wash, pottery with handmade irregularities. Let your belongings grow old with you. Do not hide the marks of time, let them live on. Instead of discarding a slightly chipped plate, keep it if it still serves its purpose. That chip becomes part of its story. In Japan, the art of kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, making it even more beautiful than before. And Wabi-Sabi is not only about physical decluttering, it is also about emotional decluttering. Keep the items that carry meaning, even if they are not perfect. A creased photograph, an old sweater from a loved one, these are anchors to your own story. Because when you change the way you see imperfection, you are not just refreshing your space, you are refreshing yourself. You learn to breathe slower, to live more gently, and to feel more deeply. And then, one day, you realize imperfection is not a flaw, it is simply another form of completeness. But Wabi-Sabi is only one part of the larger picture. If it teaches you to love imperfection, the next principle teaches you something even more radical: that empty space, the absence of things, can be just as valuable as what you own. And that is where true mental clarity begins. 2. The quiet power of space. In Japanese aesthetics, ma is not simply empty space. It is the meaningful pause between things, the silence between musical notes, the short breath between thoughts, the gap that gives shape and value to what surrounds it. Picture a traditional Japanese tea room. The space is not crowded with endless decorations. Instead, there is an intentional openness. On a low wooden table, there is only a single flower placed in a simple vase. That space around the flower, that is ma. In Western minimalism, negative space is often just a design choice for clarity. But in Japanese minimalism, ma is a philosophy. It affirms that emptiness is not nothing, it is an active, living part of the whole. We live in an age where every inch of our homes, every minute of our schedules, and every corner of our minds is filled. More meetings, more browser tabs, more notifications. Ma teaches the opposite. Space is not wasted, it is essential. When the environment around you has breathing room, your mind does as well. Psychologists call this the stimulus load effect. The more visual and mental clutter you are exposed to, the more stressed and distracted you become. Reducing that load brings more calm, more focus, and even greater creativity. This is why Japanese minimalism feels so different from Western-style decluttering. It is not just about removing things. It is about creating space intentionally so that what remains feels elevated. In a room without distractions, a single piece of art can speak louder. In a schedule with open time, one conversation can carry much greater meaning. Bringing ma into your life does not mean turning your home into an empty box. It is about finding balance and rhythm. You can start by leaving space between pieces of furniture instead of pushing everything against the walls, allowing light and air to move freely. You can choose one single focal point in a room, a painting, a plant, or a window, framing the view outside, and keep the surrounding area minimal so it shines. You can also apply ma to your time. Leave open spaces between commitments instead of filling your calendar edge to edge. These pauses replenish your energy and sharpen your focus. And there is one form of ma most people overlook. Silence as an invisible form of decor. Turn off the television running in the background. Stop the endless playlists, and allow quiet moments to exist without rushing to fill them. Because when you give space to the world around you, you also give space to yourself, space to breathe, to feel, to allow the subtle things to finally speak. And that is when you realize space does not just hold absence, it opens the door to deeper presence. But the journey does not end here. Wabi-Sabi teaches us to love imperfection, ma teaches us to value space, but the final principle, mano no aware, will transform the very way we experience time. And when you understand it, you will begin to see beauty in moments you never noticed before. 3. The beauty that fades. If Wabi-Sabi is about learning to love imperfection, and ma is about valuing space, then mano no aware is about feeling the beauty in all things, precisely because they do not last. The phrase can be translated as the pathos of things, or more poetically, an empathy toward the fleeting nature of life. It is the gentle, tender sadness you feel as you watch cherry blossoms fall, knowing that their beauty comes from the briefness of their bloom. In Western minimalism, design often aims for permanence, furniture built to last forever, materials meant to endure, layouts that never change. But in Japanese minimalism, mano no aware accepts that change is constant, and it is that very truth that gives each moment its weight. We often live as though life were a checklist. Finish one task, move to the next, always in a rush. But when you truly understand mano no aware, your pace begins to slow. You start to notice. This is not just philosophy, it is neuroscience. When we become aware of impermanence, the brain shifts out of autopilot and into full presence. Small moments, a shadow sliding slowly across the floor, the warmth from a cup of tea suddenly become precious. In a digital world where everything feels instant and disposable, mano no aware reminds us that slowness and awareness are radical acts. It reconnects us to what truly matters, not acquiring more things, but holding on to more moments. For many people who embrace Japanese minimalism, this becomes the turning point. It stops being just a style and transforms into a way of life. You do not need to live in Japan to feel this principle. Let your living space change with the seasons. Allow the colors, the light, and the textures in your home to reflect the rhythm of time instead of forcing them to stay fixed. Create small daily rituals, a morning coffee, watering plants, a short walk that you approach with unhurried intention. When something breaks, fades, or is no longer useful, release it without resentment. In doing so, you make space for new experiences while honoring the old. And instead of collecting objects as souvenirs, capture moments, a photograph, a note, or simply the memory itself. The value lies not in the material thing, but in the memory it holds. The purpose of Mono No Aware is not to dwell in sadness over change. It is to live more deeply, more fully, precisely because of it. And now, you have seen the heart of Japanese minimalism. Wabi-Sabi teaches us to love imperfection. Ma teaches us to value space. And Mono No Aware teaches us to cherish the fleeting. But the real question remains, how do you live this way in a modern, busy, consumer-driven world without turning it into a forced Instagram aesthetic? In the conclusion, we will bring every piece together, and I will give you one reason why this way of living might just be the most future-proof decision you will ever make. So, why is everyone so drawn to Japanese minimalism right now? It is not just the clean lines, the soft light, or the neutral tones, it is the mindset behind it. Wabi-Sabi teaches us that imperfection is also a form of beauty. Ma shows us that empty space is not nothing, it is everything. Mono No Aware reminds us that moments are precious, precisely because they come to an end. And when you bring them together, you do not just get a beautiful room, you get a way of living that is calmer, more intentional, and far more connected to what truly matters. In a world that is becoming louder, faster, and more crowded, Japanese minimalism offers something rare: a pause, a breath, a reminder that you already have enough if you know how to see it. And here is the secret most people miss. This lifestyle is not about owning less, it is about wanting less. That shift changes everything, not just your home, but your mind, your heart, and your habits. If this video opened your eyes, you will love the next one, where I share 5 Japanese habits that will change how you live. It is the practical side of everything we have talked about today, and I promise you will find at least one habit you can start today that will make your life feel lighter. Click right here, and let us keep building a life that feels just as good as it looks.